Hi, my name is Naveen. In this video, I will be showing you about config maps in Kubernetes and how they really help in app development and deployment. If we build an image, we should be able to use the same one for different phases of development. Let's assume we built an image for development, then use some necessary configuration details like port, API details and token details for the development one. Then we need to test it, and once everything is completed, we need to move to staging area. Now we need to modify the same image as per the configuration details for staging, and the same process continues for production. During these 3 stages, we need to build the image once again just to pass the configuration details, and this is a time consuming process. If you are planning to use Kubernetes for app deployment, then the image which we can use in Kubernetes can be built in such a way that all the configuration details which are required for the images can be provided during the runtime. This in Kubernetes can be easily achieved using config maps or secrets. I'll be discussing more on secrets in the next video. Coming to this video, I will be showing you how to create a config map and how config maps can be used in the pods. We can create config maps in 2 ways. One is imperative and the other one is through declarative. Imperative means using the commands directly, and declarative means using the manifest files. And similarly, the configuration details from config maps can be provided inside the pod using environment variables by passing as default variables or using custom variables, and also mounting them inside the file system using volumes. For this video, I will be using Google Cloud. I have a master node and 2 worker nodes, and all the documentation regarding the commands whatever I show in this video can be found in kubernetes.io website. So let's begin. One way of creating a config map is using the imperative way, that is using the kubectl create config map command. I have created a text file my-cm1.txt. It has port 3000 and token as hello. I will use this file and create a config map. The command is kubectl create config map followed by the config map name. If you are trying to create a config map from a file, then we need to give the option ---- from file. And one more option to create a config map is by directly using the variable names. For this, the option would be using literal. For each variable, we need to pass the option again. Now the config map has been created, and to see all the config maps in the current cluster, the option will be kubectl get config maps. To see the contents inside the config map, the command would be kubectl describe config map followed by the config map name. So these are the details from the text files: port equal to 3000 and token equal to hello, and first name equal to John and last name is Doe. Now the second option to create a config map is using the manifest file. I have already created the file. So this will be the contents. API version will be v1, kind will be config map, following by metadata and then data. Under data, I have given 2 variables, first name equal to John, last name equal to Doe. So these are in small letters, and I'm passing a file name here my-cm.txt and port and token details. Let's create a pod from this file. So the second one has been created, 2 seconds. Let's see the contents inside it. Port details and the first name and last name variable. Now there are 3 options mostly used to include the config map details into the pods. For this, I will create 3 YAML files and then modify it accordingly. In this app1.yaml file, I'll try to include the config map details as environment variables. For this, the details should be passed under the containers. So these are the two variables, first name and last name, and I am referring to the key first underscore name and last underscore name from the ConfigMap my-cm1. Let's create a pod from this YAML file. It's running, I'll go inside it. Now under environment variables, you can see the details, first name and last name. Here we have used custom variables, first name and last name, which are in caps. Let's modify the second YAML file and directly pass these environment variables without any custom names. The syntax will be env from and the ConfigMap name. Let's create a pod from this file. Now if you go inside the pod and see the environment variables, the name will be directly using the same variable which we defined in the config map, last underscore name and first underscore name. Now the first and second option we pass directly using the environment variables. The third one will be passing all this config map details as a file system. Let's modify the last file, app3.yaml file. For this to understand, you should have some knowledge about how to use volume under the pod configuration. If you don't know about how to use the volumes here, don't worry, I'll cover it in a next video. As of now, just concentrate on the process as how we include the environment variables using volumes. The first one will be to create a volume name, and it should be directly under spec configuration. We can give any custom name and we need to give the reference config map and the name of the config map. Next we need to pass this config map details under volume mounts. Here the name of the volume mount and the name of the volume which defined here should be equal, means same. And this will be the path where we need to mount this one. Here I am trying to mount this under etc config details. Save this file and create a pod. Pod has been created. Let's go inside. And we can see a folder has been created. And under config underscore details folder we can see the details. Let's see the contents. First name will be John, last name will be Doe, and under the text we can see port 3000 and token hello. So these are the three ways which we can use config map details under the pod to summarize once again, I did show how to create config map using imperative and declarative ways, and then how to use the config map details inside a pod using the environment, directly passing them, or we can use custom variable names, and finally we can also mount the config maps as a file system under the pods. If you have any doubts regarding all the commands used in this demo, please mention it in the comment section. I'll try to answer them. And for more such videos related to Docker or Kubernetes, please subscribe to my channel Me Aliv. Thank you and hope to see you in the next one.